Well, good afternoon, everybody, and it's such a privilege to be here today to talk to you all, to be among an exciting group of small, medium enterprises and to see such entrepreneurial spirit. I had a chance to go around some of the booths. I think I particularly liked the robotic Japanese lady. I'm getting a little bit worried that in 5 years' time I'll be replaced and no longer able to stand here and talk to you. But even though today I'm standing here as a representative of a multinational corporation, my father was a small business owner, and my husband is a small business owner. So though I work for a multinational corporation, believe me, I feel that I live amongst small business owners. In fact, my husband said to me just this past weekend that he feels like he gets up in the morning with Australia and goes to bed at night when the US turns off its lights. So I really do appreciate the amount of work and effort that goes into running such a small business, everything from marketing through to billing and all the stages in between. But what I want to talk about today is really around the whole idea that in order to succeed as a small business owner, it's not just about having that great idea. It really is also about making sure that industry, government policies keep pace with the pace of change that are coming at our small businesses. Because the opportunities are huge. We see it everywhere we look, that with e-commerce, it's really giving access to world trade in a way that people have never had the potential for before. At the click of a button, you can now access markets in countries all over the world. And sometimes that's where the problem begins, in trying to cross the world. But in my position, I get some really great opportunities to meet with a lot of small businesses. Just about 3 or 4 weeks ago, I was in Korea. And I think they find it a bit funny when I turn up on the doorstep, but I went to meet a group of young entrepreneurs. And when I say young, I mean really young. This company was run by 3 people, and I unfortunately think that they were all literally half my age. But they had a great product, and we were helping them to sell it across the globe. So it's really satisfying having those sorts of partnerships. Here in the Philippines, we work with a cosmetics company. Again, a great product that we're helping them take international, and they're seeing double-digit growth. And that's important, because small, medium businesses who go internationally will grow faster than their counterparts who stay within their domestic market. And now I want to show you, it's better if you hear it coming from a customer rather than me. I want to show you one of the small businesses that we work with. It's a guy called Llewellyn, and he's got a product that he's been excited to take to market.
My name is Llewellyn Clark, and I make a nice hot pepper sauce. People love my pepper sauce here on the island, but I want the whole world to try it. That's my dream. I just know that people's faces are going to light up when they taste it.
So if Llewellyn had just been selling on the island, he might not have got the message out to the world. So it's great to see him here today. But the key thing is that we see that not all businesses find it easy to access the world, the global markets. In fact, if we talk about APEC, what we see is that only 35% of all export trade in APEC is contributed by small businesses. But if you look at ASEAN, that number gets even smaller. It shrinks to 21%. If you go to certain countries like Malaysia, it's smaller still. It's about 14%. So the key is, with all these small businesses, they've got great ideas, but we need to get them on the move. And it's often the case that though e-commerce has surged ahead, Though e-commerce has given these small businesses access to the world, often it's policy and regulations that are still archaic and haven't moved at the same pace. So let me give you a great example of what that means by coming back to FedEx, coming closer to home. Back in the day when FedEx started off, Fred Smith, who is still our chairman today, had this great idea. His idea was to connect the US coast to coast 24 hours overnight using aircraft that would have traditionally been used to move passengers, not freight. But there was a big problem. Old regulations at that time said that only 7,500 pounds of cargo could be carried. But today our planes carry around 150,000 pounds of cargo. If that old regulation had not been changed, had not been updated, that would have stifled the growth of FedEx at the very outset. Every multinational started at some point in time as a small business. And they can't survive just on their own, off their good idea. They really need the support of other businesses, other industries, and government as well to make sure that the regulations support their growth into the future. Today at FedEx, we continue to support small businesses, not through just the ways you see here, through providing international shipping, but also through some other ways. So, for instance, at FedEx, we recognize that if you're a small business, you're going to have mobile technology to support you. You're often a one-man band, which means that you need to know when you can ship, where your shipment is. You need to be able to track and trace when you're on the move. So we've introduced mobile technology because we have to stay relevant to that small business owner and to the technology of today. We also work in the background with customs authorities to help change systems and processes that make global trade more efficient and effective. And finally, we also work with research institutes. So we have an institute called the FedEx Institute of Technology that works at that boundary between business and research to help incubate new ideas, to help get new businesses started. And just this past month, we were able to showcase about 22 startups who were showcasing medical devices. So as I say, it's extremely important that in order for small businesses to succeed, that innovation happens not just within the small businesses, but in industry and also with government and at the policy level. So, for example, some of the key things that need to change at the government and policy level are systems that support trade and processes that support trade. And what we would encourage are areas such as e-filing for customs clearance. It's already difficult enough if you're a small business who's tried to go international to move a package from country A to country B. First of all, you have to get to know all the regulations. Sometimes they're not clear. So we really need transparency of regulations. And then once you actually engage in trade, if you have to be burdened by cumbersome paperwork, it's just one more hurdle. So having a system such as Singapore, where you can file everything electronically, your payments are done electronically, that is the vision of the future. Also making sure that small businesses aren't burdened by cumbersome processes and costs. So many countries have very low de minimis levels, which is the level at which duties and taxes start to be collected. Often it costs more to collect these duties than it actually recovers in revenue. So it's very important to look rationally at those levels and start to raise those levels and open up the pipes for small business to trade. At FedEx, we've been used to innovation. It's somewhat in our DNA. Our founder was an innovator and is still with us today. And we see that it's very important to keep pace with the times, to keep innovating with the times. And so it's wonderful when I see all these great ideas and Look at the robotic lady down at the front. But what we must make sure is that these ideas are nurtured and allowed to flourish and survive and thrive. And so it's very important that we all remain flexible and agile, and that cuts across business, industry, and government. Thank you very much. So maybe I've got time if anybody wants me to take just a couple of questions. Yes, please. You can ask me and I'll repeat it.
You mentioned that there's the small, medium businesses, like the startup companies, are actually sending out and you're helping them. How do you go about doing that? Do you give them special grades?
Okay, yeah. The question was, I mentioned that small businesses want to go out and trade internationally, and how do we assist them in doing that? First and foremost, as I said, if you're trying to ship internationally, it's a complicated business. So we take care of that from soup to nuts, essentially. So once you start shipping, we start to help you in terms of what paperwork you might need, and start to give you that sort of advice. We also can go even further up the supply chain, and if you're creating your website, we've actually produced some customized automation that helps people embed a shipping solution into their own website, so they don't have to design in that part of it. So the key is that we want to be very thoughtful about how small businesses operate and how we design our business. Believe me, big multinationals like ourselves have a big voice at the table, so it's extremely important that we talk to the small businesses and bring their voice forward. So it's about tackling those things that they find difficult. How do I set up shipping on my website? How do I move packages cross-border? Who will help me with the customs clearance? Our goal is to take that off their hands. Did I address your question? Thank you. One more question, maybe? And then I think time is not on my side. No?
Ms. Reddington.
Thank you. Oh, did I hear?
I have a question. I am actually the voice, but my name is JJ Sison, and I'm also into business. I handle the business unit in the United States for my company, dealing in 16 states, and I have to admit, I love the logistics service that FedEx gave me and my company. Now, however, coming back to the Philippines, I was not able to experience the same amount of convenience. The Philippines being just using a sort of distributor, not really FedEx. Is there anything that you are doing? For example, I could print my airway bills in the United States, stick them on my labels, and drop off the packages at the FedEx station, and it's all taken care of. However, here, I have to go to the station, to the drop-off point. They will line up, get it processed, and then wait. Then they'll take my money, my package, and then it's done. In the US, it is a process of only a minute. Here, it's a process of about 15 to 20 minutes. Is there anything FedEx is doing to address that in the Philippines or in third world countries wherein FedEx is using a, shall we say, a supplier or a partner?
You know, if you do open an account with us, we'll come and pick it up for you. But yeah, I mean, I do appreciate the feedback. I mean, we tend to serve the whole world with partners in some countries and directly in others, but our key goal is that you have access to us, whether you drop off or you pick up. So I certainly take the feedback, but I am encouraged that you would print out, use our automation devices, and if you can get it into some of our service centers, our goal is to have those convenience points where you can go in and get served somewhere that is local to you and somewhere that is convenient to you. So certainly I take the feedback, and we're always looking for continuous improvement and helping you do business.
And since I stole a question from the guests, would anybody like to add a question? Okay, I guess we are good. Ms. Reddington, thank you so much for your time. Ladies and gentlemen, how about a hand?